Today's topic, we're going to look at solving word problems, and we're just going to do a couple practice together. These are all word problems that you should have practiced in your 8th grade and 7th grade math classrooms when you were doing your Math 8 and Math 7 standards. And so this is just a review. Our new type of word problem for algebra will be coming up on day 2. So this is just day 1. So first one is what's called a number sense, also kind of thought of as a number puzzle. So if they tell you, we're just going to kind of read through and highlight some of the key pieces. So 2 numbers differ by 8. That sounds important. And then they go ahead and they tell us that the sum of the 2 numbers, and the word is always going to be that equals 40. And then they're coming back and they want to know what is the value of the smaller number. Okay, so if I want to know the smaller number, that's what I'm going to use to define my variable. X is going to be the small number. Okay, so then 2 numbers differ by 8. So let's say you and your sibling are 8 years apart. And you're the younger. You would be X, and your older sibling would be X plus 8, because you're 8 years apart. So if X is the smaller number, and the 2 numbers differ by 8, then the bigger number is just going to be X plus 8 equals the big number. Okay, now we've defined our variables. We're going to come through and we are going to use the green part, which is our equation. So the sum of the 2 numbers. So I'm just going to add those together. 2x plus 8. The word is means equals. And it's going to equal 40. Okay, so now it's time to solve. So I'm just going to go over here on the side and I'm going to solve for x. Subtract 8. 2x is 32. Divide by 2. X is 16. So then I'll give my final answer. Smaller number is 16. All right, so there is an example of the probably more complicated end. So again, remember, I'm giving you the more complicated versions of each. So there is the more complicated number sets. All right, let's go ahead and try a general word problem. You've been doing these since elementary school. So again, as I read through, I'm going to kind of highlight. So we've got Lyle shoots 3 times as many as Cliff. We've got Kyle shot 12 more than Cliff. Okay, so then we're going to come through. Lyle and Kyle shot and then when I see same number, that's another way of saying equal. And so then I want to know how many did each of them shoot. Okay, so this one isn't telling us who to define. So if it doesn't tell us who to define, I always tell kids, read the problem and see if there's someone everyone else is being compared to. That's the easier person to start with. So I noticed everyone was compared to Cliff. So I'm going to make X be Cliff. So Lyle was 3 times Cliff. So 3x is going to be a Lyle. Kyle is 12 more than Cliff. So x plus 12 is going to be Kyle. Then it says that they shot the same. So now they're going to equal. And it's Lyle, which is 3x. And Kyle, which is x plus 12. All right, so I've got my equation. Now I'm going to go over here and just solve for x. Subtract x. 2x is 12. Divide by 2. X equals 6. Okay, so now I can give my final answer. Cliff shot 6. Lyle and Kyle shot All right, let's try example 3. So example 3 is consecutive integers. Now, consecutive integers was first introduced to you in the Math 8 class. So reminder, what is a consecutive integer? So consecutive integers are like numbers that get bigger by 1. So pick a number. I'm going to start with 10 because it's my favorite. So consecutive integers would be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We just keep going up by 1. Now we're going to use that same idea for the others. Consecutive even are now going to go up by 2. So let's again start with my favorite number, 10. And if I were to do consecutive integers, evens, it would be 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay? And if I need to do consecutive odd, they also are going to go up by 2. So I'll pick my son's favorite number, 9, because it's an odd number. So now consecutive odd from his favorite number would be 9, 11, 13, 15. So what I want to point out to you here is that consecutive even and consecutive odd both start out looking the same. And that's where kids get confused. It's not saying we're adding odd numbers or we're adding even numbers. It's saying that even and odd numbers both increase by 2 each time. So we know it's even or odd based off our final answer. If our final answer is an odd number, then we should have been looking for consecutive odd. And if our final answer is an even number, we should have been looking for consecutive even. But at the beginning, they start out the same. Okay, so let's go ahead here and look. So it says the largest. And then I notice I am doing 3 consecutive evens. That's going to be huge. I hit the word is. And then it's 3 times the smallest. And I want to know what they are. So again, I need to do 3. So I've got my first even. I've got my second even. And I've got my third even. X is the first. Evens get bigger by 2, so x plus 2 and x plus 4. Okay, now it says the largest. So now I'm ready to go write my equation. So the largest is the x plus 4. Is means equals 3 times the smallest. And 3 times the smallest would be 3x. All right, so now I'm going to go over here and solve. So x plus 4 equals 3x, subtract x. 4 equals 2x, divide by 2. X equals 2. So, final answer, the numbers are 2, 4, and 6. All right, those are 3 even numbers. Okay, let's look at our last one. So this one is just talking age. So this is that whole idea of in the future, you're going to get older. In the past, you were younger. So let's go ahead and read through this problem. So Dave is 3 times as old as Daniel. Okay, so that's like in the present, right now. Dave is 3 times as old as Daniel. Okay, so now we need to go back in time. It says 4 years ago. Okay, that's going to be huge. 4 years ago. We know that Dave was is the past tense for is 5 times Daniel. But again, we're coming back to how old are they now? Okay, so let's go ahead and start. We're going to make Daniel be X and we'll make 3x be Dave because Dave was 3 times Daniel. I could have made x be Dave, but then Daniel would be 1/3 x, and I know how much you guys love fractions, so that's why I went ahead and made x Daniel and make Dave 3x. Okay, so 4 years ago, so that means we're going back in time. 4 years ago, Dave. So take Dave, who is 3x, and then send him back 4 years ago. All right, and that's going to be the same as doing 5 times But now we got to do Daniel 4 years ago. And Daniel 4 years ago would be x minus 4. All right, we have our equation. So now let's go ahead and solve. 3x minus 4 equals 5x minus 20. I'm going to subtract my 3x. So negative 4 equals 2x minus 20. I'm going to add to 20. 16 equals 2x. Divide by 2. So x is going to equal 8. Okay, so 8 is giving me Daniel's age. So how old is Dave? So if Daniel is 8, Dave is going to be 3 times 8. So Dave is 24. And that is the end of our review of solving word problems.